right, so I've had some people in class ask if I recorded the classes that I teach, and I hadn't been. So I'm going to try to start doing it ever so often, the classes that I teach in a week, and I'm going to go ahead and try and record them. So if you wanted to practice the class again, then you'll have the opportunity. So for this class, it's called The Space Within, and that's what I'll name it. And you'll need two blocks for the practice. One's going to be at the back of your mat, one's going to be at the top of your mat. And then you're going to go ahead and take that block that you're going to use at the top of your mat and you're going to bring that with you. We're going to start lying on our back. So when you come onto your back, you just, let me move my headset here. You're just going to take a couple of breaths to let the back of the body settle. And you want to feel the sacrum relax into the mat. Feel the shoulders create some space for the back of the neck. And then we'll take a few breaths. You might start with the hands on the belly or on the heart. And we'll take a deep breath in. And then find an open mouth exhale to sigh it out. And let's do that again. Big breath in. Open mouth exhale, sighs it out. We'll do that one more time. Inhale. Feel the lift of the heart. And then open mouth exhale, you release. And we'll seal the lips. Start to find the conscious breath that you're going to work with throughout your practice. Now we're going to use that block now that's to the side of us and press into the feet and lift the hips up. And you're going to come into a supported bridge. So at the lowest or medium height for the block. And then you could keep the feet grounded, maybe knees, feet are hip width, knees are over the ankles, or you could extend the feet to the front of the mat. I want you to let the sacrum settle, let the mid-back, back of the heart relax into your mat. You might heavy the eyes or close the eyes and feel the eyes soften back into the skull. And again, we're just letting the body start to soften and arrive into our practice. Muscles in the face are relaxed. You'll take another breath. So keep the feet grounded. Let's press into the feet and roll the hips off of our block. And you're going to move the block off to the side. Keep the hips lifted though. And then I'm going to roll the shoulders underneath the body. Walk the heels a little bit closer to your sit bones. And then press into the feet and lift through the fronts of the thighs. Chin stays tucked towards the chest. Relax through the back of the heart. You're here for maybe 2 more cycles of breath. You start to notice and feel the back of the body, the glutes, the hamstrings lifting the front of the body. Take 1 more full breath. And then you're going to roll the spine down. Come all the way down. Each vertebrae touches the mat one at a time. And then keep your left foot grounded. Hug the right knee into the chest. You can make some circles with that right knee. Rotate in both directions. And then I want to straighten the left leg to the to the front of the mat. So flex the foot and so the toes point straight to the ceiling. You're going to feel your inner left thigh rotate down to the ground. And then we'll straighten the right leg. I'm going to interlace my hands to start behind the right hamstring. Flex and point the right foot so you feel some stretch in the Achilles, the calf, the front and top of the foot. Maybe a few circles. Wake up the ankle both directions. Now you're going to keep the left hand, or actually let's pull the thigh closer to the chin, relax the shoulders, and then let's flex the foot. I want you to feel the right hip drive towards the mat. I relax the shoulders and jaw, but I'm feeling the right thigh pulling closer towards the chest. back of the leg is opening up. If you need a little bend in the knee, make sure you're really mindful of the pose. Take another breath into that right side. You're also driving through the left heel. And then let's keep the left hand on that on that right leg. So the left hand could be on the calf. You could reach up for the big toe or the inner arch. I'm going to bring my right arm out to a T or a cactus. Take a big breath in, and then either the leg stays straight or the knee is bent, however you want to bring the leg across the body. But I want you to use that left hand to guide the right leg across the body. You come onto the left hip. Reground the left shoulder. And you could use that block that was underneath the sacrum. Maybe that comes underneath the right thigh, right knee. And then I'll relax through the back of the heart. Maybe the gaze is towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Maybe it's over towards that right shoulder. Try and soften through your left shoulder and collarbone. And then you're breathing here. Take another breath into the right side of the rib cage. Use that exhale to soften any grip. One more breath. So when you inhale, let's come back onto our back. The right foot is going to ground, and I'll press into the foot to make sure my spine is back in alignment. And then the left knee hugs into the chest. So hug the knee into the chest. Start by rotating the foot, maybe a few circles with the knee to get into the hip. And then let's straighten the right leg down the mat, flex the foot. Your inner right thigh is going to rotate to the mat. Your left leg now is straightening towards the ceiling or the sky. Interlace the hands around the left hamstring. So first start by driving your right heel forward towards the front of the mat. Point and flex the left foot. Make sure that the eyes and the jaw are soft. Relax through the shoulders. Rotate the foot getting into the ankle. And then we pause with the foot flexed. Flex that left foot. Pull the left thigh closer to the chest. Back of the body is grounded. Relax through the muscles in the arms so we're not gripping or forcing that thigh, but you do feel a little bit of engagement as the left thigh pulls closer towards the chest. And take another breath or so here. So now that right hand is going to support the left leg. So maybe the right hand to the calf, maybe grab for the big toe or the inner arch. That left arm is going to open out to a T or a cactus, and then you're going to guide the left knee across the body. So you could come onto the right hip. You could use that block that was underneath the sacrum. Maybe now it comes underneath the left knee. And then you're regrounding underneath the left shoulder. Maybe the gaze turns towards the left side of the mat. Relax through the left side of the rib cage. And then just breathe here for a couple of breaths. Muscles in the face start to relax even more. You're tuning deeper into your breath. One more full cycle here. Your inhale is what unwinds you, and you come back onto your back. Press the left foot onto the floor to realign the hips and shoulders. We'll step that right foot in. And then press into both feet. Make sure that the hips and shoulders, spine is aligned. Lift the feet into the chest. Wrap the hands either around the shin or the hamstrings. Hug the navel close to the heart. We'll lift the forehead towards the knees. You'll start to rock forward and backwards on the back. Do that a couple of times, 3 or 4 times from the tailbone all the way to the back of the neck. And then you're going to roll up to seated, cross over the shins, and let's come right into table pose. So take that block that you were using, set it back to the top of your mat. Come into table pose and have the wrists shoulder width distance. You're going to ground the finger pads, grip the mat with your fingerprints, and then hug the navel into the chest. Pull the shoulders down the back, and then I usually practice with my eyes closed, but when I do open them, the gaze is going to be on the mat, maybe looking towards the top of the mat. So let's hug the navel in. On your inhale, we'll pull the heart forward, open up through the throat, the shoulders pull back. And then when you exhale, let's round the back, tuck the chin, press the floor away, and feel the shoulders spread, arching the back. Inhale, heart pulls forward. Relax the collarbone. Exhale, round the back, hug the navel in. When you tuck the chin, see if you can let the head hang between the biceps. So when you inhale, come back to neutral. You're going to keep the left hand grounded. When you inhale, you'll spiral the right hand up and reach through the fingertips. When you exhale, let's thread underneath the chest. Come on to the right shoulder, the right side of the face. So the hips are going to stay over the knees. Maybe you keep that left hand in front of the face. Maybe it extends to the top of the mat or it rotates behind the back. You're going to relax into that right shoulder. Let go of any gripping. And take maybe a breath or two here. We let the body do the work. We don't need to push or force anything. Notice if you want to come out of the pose a little quicker than you should. Take one more full breath. Let's open up through that left shoulder, reach through the left fingertips. Now the left hand comes back in front of the face. You're going to press into the left hand and sweep the right hand up. Reach through the fingertips. And then as you ground the right hand, step the right foot back. Press into the ball of the right foot. You're going to rock forward and backwards. I'm still gripping the mat with my fingerprints, lifting through the back of the body. Take one more breath here. Keep the core engaged as you lift the right foot up. Lift through the back of the body. Rotate the right hip down. Relax the shoulders down the back. Take another breath here. Back of the neck is long. You're reaching through the right heel. So you keep this energy lifting through the back of your body. When you inhale, reach through the right leg. The exhale, let's bring the knee into the chest, round the back, and then step the foot in between the palms. I'm going to walk the foot forward, sink into the right knee, and you're going to press that right foot past your mat to fire up the right thigh. The inhale sweeps the hands forward and up. And so you sink into the knee, pull the shoulders down the back, rotate the pinkies forward, and then I'm going to hug the navel in. That's going to protect the core, protect the low back. Relax the muscles in the face. Try and hug that right hip in. And take one more full breath here. So keep driving the right foot down into the floor. Let's bring the hands to the heart. As you sink into that front knee, use the inhale to grow tall through the top of the head. The exhale, we're going to twist. Bring that left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. It does help if you lean forward, rotate from the navel, and then hook the outside of the left elbow to the right thigh. Press the palms together, hug the right hip in, and then the gaze or the drishti is going to be over that right elbow or that right shoulder. Sink a little deeper into the right knee. You're here for maybe one or two more breaths. I even use my left eye to look as far over the right elbow as I can just to stretch my vision. Now when you inhale, let's bring the hands to the floor. You're going to inch that right foot forward to come into half splits. I know we're only using one block at the top of the mat, so that block comes underneath the left hand if you need to use it. You're going to straighten through the right leg to come onto the right heel. Rotate your inner right thigh to the floor. That's going to point your toes up to the ceiling. And then I'm going to use my right thumb into my right hip, not to push the hips to the side, but to encourage the tailbone to reach towards the back of the mat. So just push it into the hip crease. Tuck the chin. You're pressing through the ball of the right foot. As I hug the navel in, I'm going to hinge over that right thigh. Think about the crown of the head reaching down the leg towards that right foot. Shoulders are relaxed. You're breathing into the back of the right calf, behind the knee, and the back of the right hamstring. And take one more full breath. Really good. So let's go ahead and bend back into the knee. Set your block out of the way. Press into the foot. Let's reset here. Reach the fingertips up to the ceiling or up towards the sky. As you press into the foot, remember you're using that as leverage to pull the torso over center. Take one more breath in. Look down. When you exhale, let's bring the hands down to your mat. So you'll bring the right knee back in line with the left. Ground into the palms, reset here. The inhale pulls the heart forward, open up through the chest. Exhale, round the back, pull the navel in and tuck the chin. Do that a couple more times for your reset. Inhaling pulls the heart forward, open up through the throat. Exhale, round the back. So when you inhale, let's come back to center. Neutral pose here, still engaged here through the belly, pressing the floor away. Keep the right hand grounded this time. When you inhale, you're sweeping the left hand up, reach through the fingertips. The exhale threads underneath the chest. You come onto the left side of the face. Left shoulder. Keep the right hand where it is. Maybe you extend it to the top of the mat or you rotate it behind the back, opening up through the right shoulder. And then you breathe. Let the body do the work. Take 2 more cycles for me. And then we'll bring the right hand back in front of the face. The inhale sweeps the left hand up and you reach through the fingertips, pull the navel in as you breathe into the left side. And then the exhale brings the left hand to the mat and you step the left foot back, press into the ball of the foot. We're opening up through the bottom of that left foot, so a little rock forward and backwards. Maybe even curl the toes. Oops, sorry, buddy. And then we'll lift the left foot up, rotate the left hip down. You want to engage the core, so pull the navel in, reach through the left heel, lift through the back of the body. Core stays engaged here. Take another breath. Left leg stays strong. And then when you exhale, let's bring the knee into the chest, hug the knee close to the heart, and then you're going to step it between the palms. Inch the foot forward, sink into the knee, and as you press that foot into the floor, you're going to sweep the hands forward and up and find a low lunge. Shoulders move down the back. You're pressing the foot into the floor to pull the torso back over center, and then reach through the fingertips. I'll rotate my pinkies forward. That's going to give you a little more space along the back of the chest, or back of the shoulders. Take another big breath in. And then when you exhale, let's bring the hands to the heart. Grow tall on the inhale through the top of the head. When you exhale, slight lean forward and twist. Right elbow now to the outside of the left thigh. I usually try and help the elbow to the outside. Press the palms together. Pull the navel in. And as you sink into the knee, let's start to rotate. Gazes over that left shoulder, left elbow. Use the right eye to help open your twist. And take another breath or so here. We're relaxing through the right shoulder, right collarbone. Notice the jaw. And take one more full breath. Good. Now when you inhale, we're bringing the hands to the floor. Inch your left foot forward, come into half splits. The block will come underneath the right hand if you need a little bit of support. Straighten the left leg to come onto the left heel. And then you'll bring the left thumb into the left hip crease to pull the left hip back. Rotate the inner left thigh down to the floor. And we'll tuck the chin as the tailbone pulls back. We're reaching the heart towards the toes. Relax the shoulders, the jaw. Inner left thigh rotates to the ground. You're pressing through the ball of the left foot. And take another breath or so here. I'm relaxing through the shoulders. Keep the core engaged. So start to walk the hands forward. Sink into that left knee. Place your block back to the top of the mat. Press into that left foot to lift the hands back into your low lunge. Hug the navel up towards your heart. Reach through your fingertips. Soft jaw here. Back of the neck is long. You're here for one more full breath. So now we're going to bring the hands to the ground. Bring the left knee in line with that right knee. Step both feet back. You're going to come into a plank pose now. So press through the palms. I always look back, make sure my booty's not lifted too high. I'm going to drive through my heels. Grip the mat with your fingerprints. Lift through the back of the body and hug the navel in. And take another breath here. So legs are going to stay strong. With or without the knees, we're going to come down onto our forearms. So one at a time, come onto your forearms. The elbows come underneath the shoulders. You're going to press into the elbows to find that lift between the shoulder blades. Backs of the legs stay strong. Hug the navel in. Look between the thumbs. Take one more breath in. And then when you exhale, let's bring the hips down and come into Sphinx pose. So you press into the elbows, toe tips are on the ground. You press into the elbows to lift the heart forward towards the chin. And the shoulder blades roll down the back. And you feel a little bit of space in the front of the chest. Stretch through the low back. Take one more full breath here. And then you can stack the palms flat or stack the fists. Come down onto the chest and take a breath or so here. So you do this to reset. We let the front of the body go, the front of the thighs relax. You take away any effort. And we start to maybe soften some of those reactions before we even move into the poses. Notice how you're responding as you move into each pose and see if you can let go of the response until you come into the posture. Take another breath here, soften through the heart. And then you'll bring the hands to the outer edges of the chest. Tuck the chin, hug the elbows in, engage the core. Now with or without the knees, you're going to press into plank pose. The exhale brings you into downward facing dog. So pedal out the feet here. You're going to wag the hips from side to side. Hopefully you have enough space on your mat. Grip the mat with your fingerprints. I'm going to lift the tailbone high, hug the navel in, let the head hang between the biceps. Take a breath or so here, maybe a shake yes and no of the head. Heels are softening towards the mat. Last breath here, find some stillness. So let's inhale, lift the heels up high, bend the knees deeply, look forward. Bottom of that exhale, make the way to the top of your mat. You can step or hop. When you come to the top of the mat, you're going to have the feet hip width distance. The next inhale brings us into a half lift. So you ground through the heels, rock some weight into the toes, hug the navel in. When you exhale, forward fold. Let's tuck the chin. Little bend into the knees. Inhale, rise. Arms are going to sweep overhead. Reach through the fingertips. Legs stay strong. And then the exhale brings the hands to the heart. We pause here for a moment. Feel the inner thighs rotating towards the back of your mat. That's going to feel the feet root into the mat. Lift through the heart. Relax the muscles in the face. And take one more breath. So let's move through half sun salutation A, connecting breath to movement. The inhale sweeps the hands up, reach through the fingertips, keep the legs strong. Exhale, forward fold so you hinge at the hips. I lead with my heart as I hinge over the thighs. Inhale, find a half lift. Rock the weight into the toes. Exhale, forward fold. Little bend into the knees. Inhale, rise. Arms lift overhead. Reaching through the fingertips. Exhale, hands pull to the heart. You'll do that again. Inhale, arms lift up overhead. Legs stay strong. Exhale, forward fold. Pull the navel in as you hinge over the thighs. Inhale, half lift. Feel the energy come into the back of the heart. Shoulders draw back. Exhale, forward fold. Little bend in the knees. Inhale, rise. Arms lift overhead. Exhale, hands pull to the heart. So you pause here. I'll close the eyes. You might keep a sliver of light coming in. Relax the shoulders though. So have the hands come to the sides of the body. Find a breath or so here in mountain pose. On your next inhale, let's bend the knees deeply. Drop the sit bones and lift the arms. Come into chair pose. You're going to hug the navel up in towards the heart. You're going to sit the tailbone low. Draw the shoulders down the back and then reach through the fingertips. Take another breath in. And then the exhale, we fold. Straighten the legs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, bend, step that left foot back into warrior one. So that foot's going to step wide. You're going to spiral the heel down. And then you're going to sink into that front knee. Press off that back foot to sweep the hands forward to come up. The feet now should be on separate tracks, right? You should not have the feet on one energy line. They should be separate if you drew a line from the front foot to the back foot. So separate lines. Sink into the knee. Use the back foot to rotate the left hip forward. I'm going to press through the outer edge of my left foot, sinking into that right knee, hug the right hip in. And as the foot presses into the floor, pull the torso over center. Maybe frame the face with the biceps. Reach through the fingertips. Take one more breath in. And then you'll keep sinking into the knee. Inhale to lift up through the fingertips. Sink deeper into the knee as you exhale. The hands come to the heart. So press through the outer edge of that back foot. Inhale to lengthen. When you exhale, I want you to twist. So you'll keep the hands together. Left elbow comes to the outside of that right knee. Pull the navel in. Press through the outer edge of the left foot. And as you press the palms together, your gaze now is over that right elbow. Sink a little deeper, hug the right hip in. One more full breath. Now when you inhale, we unwind the hands to the floor. Straighten the legs, so maybe that left hand comes underneath the left, or the block comes underneath the left hand as we straighten through that right leg. I'm going to bring my right thumb to my right hip, just to encourage the hip to press back towards the back of the mat so it doesn't swing out to the side. Press the ball of the right foot to the floor, tuck the chin, and then let the torso drape down that right leg. Shoulders move away from the ears. When you breathe now, you should be breathing into the inner right thigh, maybe the right hamstring. I feel it in my calf. I'm going to keep pressing the inner arch of my right foot to the floor as I hug my right hip back. Left leg stays strong. You're here for one more breath. Really nice. So let's bend into that right knee. Set your block to the top of the mat. Ground the fingertips, and that left foot's going to step forward to meet the right. Bend into the knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And then drop the sit bones as you bend the knees and you lift the arms overhead back into chair pose. So sink into the knee, relax the shoulders down the back, hug the navel in towards the heart. I'm going to reach through my fingertips as I sit a little lower. Take one more breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, bend, step the right foot back, step it wide so you can spiral the heel down. So feet are on separate tracks. I'm going to sink into that front knee, hug the left hip in, drive the left foot into the floor. The inhale sweeps the hands forward and up. So you're going to press through the outer edge of that back foot. Sink into the front knee. Feel the navel lift up towards the heart. Muscles in the face are soft. Right leg is really strong. You feel the inner right thigh rotating to the back of your mat. Take another breath here. Really nice. So I'm going to sink a little deeper into that front knee. Bring the hands to the heart. Inhale to grow tall as I sink. When you exhale, let's twist. So the right elbow comes to the outside of that left knee. I'm going to press the elbow into the knee, press the palms together, hug the left hip in, and then maybe bring that gaze over the left elbow. Keep trying to press the elbow to rotate the torso. It helps if you hug the navel in. Press through that right foot. One more breath here. Now when you inhale, let's unwind the hands, come to your mat. You're going to ground the palms. We're straightening the left leg, so if you need a little bit of support here, you're going to bring the block underneath the right hand. Straighten through the left leg. Press through the outer edge of the right foot, and then the left thumb comes into the left hip crease. And it's just to drive the left hip back towards the back of the mat. Let's find an inhale to lengthen. And then the exhale, you're going to tuck the chin and let the torso drape over that left thigh. Take a couple of breaths here. You're breathing into the left glute, the left hamstring, the back of the left knee. Try and soften something else. For me, it's the shoulders. For you, it might be the chest, the head. You're here for one more breath. Awesome. So let's bend into that knee. Set your block back to the top of the mat. Look forward. Right foot steps forward to meet the left. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Let's pause here for an extra breath or two. Come into that forward fold. Grab onto the opposite elbows if you want. You feel the heels ground as you rock your weight into the toes. Let the torso decompress. Take one more full breath. Release the hands to the floor. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, drop the sit bones. The inhale, we lift the arms. So we're completing our sequence here back into chair pose. Relax the shoulders down the back. Hug the navel in. Take one more full cycle here. And then your inhale, we come to mountain pose, hands to the sides of the body. Close the eyes, heavy the eyes, relax the shoulders down the back. Keep grounding through the feet, hug the navel in. And we're here for just a couple of breaths. So come back to your breath. You find that presence with your conscious breath. You start to rock side to side. I might widen my feet hip width distance, a little rock from side to side. A lot of times I'll try and keep my eyes closed to play around with my balance. I'll bring the weight into my right foot, start to lift the left knee. When you start to get wobbly is when you find your drishti. So you'll open the eyes, find a fixed point to gaze at. Grow tall through that right leg so you lift up through the heart. That left knee could stay bent. You could straighten the leg and you could support the left leg with the right hand. So the calf, maybe you even grab the big toe or the outer edge of the foot. Left hand is going to come to the hip. Pull the navel in, start to open the left shoulder. So you start opening towards the left side of the mat. And then I'll find my gaze at the back of the mat somewhere, back of the room. Maybe extend that left hand to the back of the mat. Continue growing tall. Lift through the top of the head. Hug the navel in. Take one more full breath. So whether the leg is straight or the knee is bent, I'm keeping the leg. I'm just going to release the hands to unwind. Reach the fingertips towards the ceiling, towards the sky. When you exhale, let's bring this into a warrior three. So hinge at the hips, send it back. It's a little more challenging if you keep the hands overhead if you can. You could bring the hands to the heart, or you have that block that's at the top of the mat. Lift through the back of the body. Rotate your left hip down. Take one more full breath here. And then warrior one. Let's step that left foot wide. We've already been here. Spiral the heel down. You're bending into the knee. Hug the right hip in as you pull the navel in. Lift the heart towards the crown of the head. Reach through the fingertips. I'm going to have a little more length in my warrior one this time. So maybe inch that right foot forward. Rotate the left hip down. The left outer edge of the foot is really grounded here. You're here for one more cycle of breath. So I want you to keep the knee bent. You're going to imagine like you have a beach ball in between the palms. Hinge forward, keeping the bend in the knee, but keep the right hip hugged in. I'll keep the chin tucked so the back of the neck is long. Fire up the outer edge of that left foot. So left leg is strong as you sink deeper into your right knee. Take one more full breath. And then when you exhale, you're going to release the ball. Hands come to the floor. You're going to straighten that right leg. So maybe a block underneath the left fingertips. Fingertips could be grounded. I'm going to straighten the right leg. Right thumb comes into the right hip. Feel the right ball of the foot ground to the mat, the right arch ground to the floor. And you're going to pull that right hip back. Make sure that the left leg stays strong. Find a pyramid pose just for a breath. Let the torso release over that right thigh. Breathe into the back of the leg. You're going to lift up. Start to rotate your heart open towards the right side, so towards that right leg. Pull the navel in, hug the right hip in. So make sure you fire up that back leg. That's going to help in this rotation. As you pull the right hip back, maybe the gaze follows. Hand could stay at the hip, or now maybe you extend it towards the sky. Take a couple of breaths here. It really helps pressing into the back foot, pressing into the ball of the front foot. Take one more full breath. So I'm going to keep my right hip hugged in, bend into the knee. I'm keeping my right hand lifted to come into revolved half moon. So I'm going to use my block underneath my left hand. You're going to balance on that right leg, lift the left leg up. Rotate your heart back open to the right side, and then lift the right hand. Right wrist over the right shoulder. Reach through the left heel. Take another full cycle here. And then you're going to inhale to unwind. Step that left ball of the foot to the back of the mat. You're going to open up, find star pose. So left arm opens you up. Pivot on the right heel so that the toes point towards the left side of the mat, and bring the heels in. So as you press through the feet, reach through the fingertips. Be careful that the hips don't jet forward. You're not jetting the belly forward. You're pressing through the outer edges of the feet so the legs are strong, reaching through the fingertips. Maybe you open up through the heart and the chest. So now you're going to pivot on that left heel facing the back of the mat. So pivot on the left heel, come to mountain pose at the back of the mat. So press off that right foot. Now we're in mountain pose at the back of your mat. Have the hands to the sides of the body. Ground through the feet. Find your reset here. So you'll take one more breath. I'm keeping my eyes closed to play around with my balance. You start to rock side to side, foot to foot, left foot to right foot, bringing the weight from side to side. So now end up with the weight in the left foot. Start to lift the right knee, so the right knee is in line with the right hip. You're going to stay here, shoulders move down the back. Right hand is going to come to the hip. That left hand is going to cross over the body to the right knee. So you could stay here with the knee bent. You could straighten the leg and support the calf with the hand, or maybe you grab the big toe or the outer edge of the right foot. Start to straighten through the torso. Whether the knee is bent or the leg is straight, you're opening up through that right shoulder. Start to gaze back to the top of the mat. Open through that right hand, grow tall through the left arm. Through the left leg. And you find a couple of breaths here. Hug the navel in. Breathe. That's going to help with the balance as well. Reach through the fingertips. So stay balanced if you can on the left leg. Keep the legs how they are. Whoops. Unwind to the back of the mat. Reach the fingertips up towards the sky or the ceiling. Grow tall through that left leg. And then we're bringing this into Warrior 3. So you hinge at the hips. Hands might come to the heart. You might keep them extended for a little more challenge. Rotate the right hip down. Flex the foot. Lift through the back of the body. Take another breath. Navel stays hugged in. And then we bring it into Warrior 1. So you step it wide. Spiral the right heel down. You're sinking into the left knee. Find your stance here. So I'll sink into that front knee. Right leg stays strong so you feel the inner right thigh rotating to the front of your mat. Sink into the knee as you reach the fingertips up. Feel the biceps frame the face. Shoulders move down the back. Take another breath or so here. Try and soften something. Maybe a little longer stance. I'm going to inch my left foot forward. Open up through the chest. Start to imagine that beach ball between the palms. Hug the navel in. Sink deeper into that front knee, and we're hinging forward at the hip. Press through the outer edge of the back foot. Reach the beach ball to the back of your mat. Take another breath or so here. Shoulders move down the back. So now you're going to release the beach ball. Hands come to the floor. Straighten through that left leg. Maybe use your block underneath the right hand. Left thumb comes to the left hip to encourage the hip back. And then you're going to tuck the chin just for a breath here. Find your pyramid pose. Press through the outer edge of your right foot. I'm going to start to rotate my left shoulder up as I pull my left hip back. Pull the navel in. The left elbow points towards the sky. Heart points towards the opposite side of the mat. Take one more breath here. So my right leg is going to stay strong. The hand could stay at the hip, or now maybe you extend it up. Reach through the fingertips. Try and stack the wrist over the shoulder. Hug the hip back. One more breath. So you could keep the hand lifted, or you could bring the hand to the hip. I'm going to bring this into a revolved half moon. So you take that block in the right hand, straighten through the left leg, and bring the block underneath the right shoulder. Flex the right foot. Start to reopen the left shoulder. Reach through the right heel. Pull the navel in. Pull the left hip back. Take one more breath. So put a little bend in the knee. We're going to unwind. That right foot steps to the top of your mat, front of your mat. Rotate back open into star pose. Point the toes towards the left side of the mat. Bring the heels in. Reach through the outer edges of the feet. Reach through the fingertips. I'm going to grow tall through the chest. Legs are strong. One more breath here. Now pivot on the right heel so that the right toes point towards the front of the mat. Step off that back foot. We're going to come into mountain pose, front of the mat, hands to the sides of the body. Then close the eyes. Take a couple of breaths here. Legs are strong. Navel pulls up towards the heart. Shoulders move down the back. On your inhale, you sweep the hands up. Exhale, forward fold, hinge at the hips. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Let's bend, step back into downward facing dog. So now choose if you want to stay in downward dog. If you want to back bend, the inhale is going to rock you forward. You're going to find a plank pose. With or without the knees, chaturanga, bring the elbows in line with the ribs, and then back bend. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog, reach through your toes. In the exhale, we're all back in downward facing dog. Now the inhale is going to rock us forward. We find plank pose. With or without the knees, one arm at a time. Maybe it's the opposite that starts. This time we come back into forearm plank pose. Elbows come underneath the shoulders. Reach through the heels. Press the elbows down so you feel that lift of the shoulder blades. Muscles in the face are soft. Legs are strong. Take one more breath in. And then the exhale, the hips come down. Now as we began, we're in Sphinx pose. Press into the elbows to lift the heart towards the chin. Shoulders roll down the back. Let's keep the legs strong. Toenails are pressing into your mat, reaching through your toe tips. Take 2 more cycles of breath. So now let's come on to our backs. So roll over. You'll keep your head at the top of your mat. When you come on to your back, hug the knees into your chest right away. Wrap the hands around the shins. And you want to relax through the hip sockets, so maybe a little rock from side to side. I'm going to keep my right knee hugged in and just re-ground the left foot. Plant the left foot, hug the right knee into the chest. I'm going to flex the foot, either grab behind the right knee or the outer edge of the right foot for half happy baby. You relax through that right hip socket, flex the foot. You could keep the left foot grounded or straighten the left leg. Maybe stay in stillness or straighten the right leg. Whatever feels good here, but we're here for maybe 2 more breaths. Now you're going to bend that knee into the chest. Cross the left hand to the right knee. Inhale to open the right arm out. When you exhale, you come into your twist. So you'll pull the right knee across the body. Gaze and look towards the right shoulder. Pull the navel in. And then you let that right knee get heavy. Soften through the eyes. Soften through the jaw. See if you can take a couple of smooth breaths here. And when you inhale, you'll come back onto your back. Right foot is going to step onto your mat and realign the hips as you bring the left knee into the chest. Bend at that left knee, half happy baby on the left side. Grab behind the left knee, the outer edge of the left foot, or maybe the big toe, and you'll rock from side to side. You could keep the right foot grounded or straighten through that right leg. Maybe the left knee stays bent. Maybe straighten the leg. Now that left knee bends back into the chest. Cross the right hand to the left knee. Inhale to open the left arm. Take a big breath in, and then you're pulling the knee across the body. Come on to the right hip. Reground your left shoulder. Breathe into the back of the body. Relax the right collarbone. Let go. Surrender. When you inhale, you'll come back into center. That left foot's going to come onto your mat. Press into the foot to realign the spine. And then let's extend the feet out to the corners of your mat. Hands could be on your hip points. Let the feet flop to the sides of the mat. You could bring the hands around the head. And we just take a few moments in stillness. This is where all of the benefits of your practice actually start to assimilate into the body. I want you to check back in and remember if you noticed any reactions to your practice. The practice becomes a mirror to our life. And so we start to notice these subtle, tiny little reactions, seeing how we might be able to soften into our outcomes without having to react. Just check in. Let go a little deeper now. Back of the heart relaxes. A few more breaths here. We'll bring the hands to the heart. Take a deep breath in. You might feel the heart lift towards the palms. And then exhale, back of the body softens. And again, inhale. And exhale. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Your next inhale, let's stretch the arms overhead, point and flex the feet. Step the feet onto your mat, roll onto your right side. I like to rest my head on my bicep and feel the left palm ground. Well, you just take a moment here. Feel the left palm grounded so you come back to your present moment. And we take this last breath to invite gratitude into our practice. Always finding something to be grateful for. So try and keep the eyes closed. Let's press into the left hand to lift the torso. You'll come back to face the front of your mat. Sit in a comfortable, easy pose. Legs might be crossed. Hands could be on the knees, resting on the thighs, or maybe they come to the heart. And a little tuck of the chin. Take one final breath. And when you're ready, you'll lift the chin, blink the eyes open, find a smile. Namaste. And thank you so much for practicing with me. And I hope to see you actually in class. Thanks so much.